Alex Clark barely gets it away. It's recovered by Hammond. Hammond fires. It's blocked. Recovered by Ukamadu. Ukamadu gets tripped up from behind. But this is going to be a very interesting situation because that was a penalty draw in the box. She scored Brookline's first goal last year. Can she do it again this year? There's the whistle. Shot is in! Vilena Chernychev. Freeze recovers it. Freeze tries to send in a crosser. Deflects up into the air. Leslie taps it back to Eisenhower. Eisenhower fires. Eisenhower scores! Emma Eisenhower tickles the twine at the top of the net, and it's a one-goal game, ladies and gentlemen. Low kick through, finds its target, Freeze! Sydney Freeze ties it up off the assist from Chernychev. Cosgrove up in the air, downed by Leslie, taken by Ukamadu. Ukamadu taps it for Leslie. Leslie sends it forward to Chernychev. Chernychev turns around, sends a leading pass, crashing. Leslie scores! Can you believe it? Brookline has the lead. 3 unanswered goals to complete the comeback. Shot in! Vilena Chernychev. Off the head, I think, of Leslie, and kicked away by Vianello. Massoud trying to recover, but Hammond takes it for herself. Now touches it out to Chernychev. Chernychev kicks a leader. Off to the races. Sydney Freeze charging in. Shot is in! Sherwin punts it towards midfield, bouncing along. Off the head of Smith the wrong way, taken by Sofia Dos Anjos, but swooping in is Amru Kamadu! Amru Kamadu racing, charging in, shooting, scoring! Launches it, coming in low, it's knocked right back, goes to Hammond. Hammond boots it way upfield, and now it's a race. Race to the ball, it's won by Freeze! Sydney Freeze! Shot! In! Sydney Freeze breaks the scoreless tie. Chernychev sets up, fires all the way out to the near side to an open Freeze. Freeze dribbling and spins the defender out of her feet, sends a pass into Leslie. Leslie knocked over by Kopaz in the box. That's going to be a PK chance for Brookline. A chance to break the scoreless tie here. Shot in! Anna Leslie takes care of business and makes it a 1-0 game. Touch pass for Chernychev, who sends a leader down the near side, way down, and Freeze barely manages to keep it in bounds. Pass to the middle gets to Leslie. Leslie cutting up, going around one defender, battling with Callahan, sends a crosser through, and that one is knocked in! Amra Ukamadu! Battle for the ball. Hammond tried to slide it away, but couldn't get it to anyone. But now swooping in and intercepting the pass is Chernychev. Pass to Hammond. McKenna Hammond shot. Score! McKenna Hammond gets the first goal of the game. Freeze kicks it. Header is in! Anna Leslie! Sometimes, you know, when you're facing a program that's not as far along as you, you can just try and force things through. And that one is in! Shu. Forward to Freeze. Freeze dribbling, looking, pass across. Now a pass from Siegel to Cannon. Cannon the shot. No, it's a pass and it's a goal! Amra Ukamadu! She recovers it off the attempted clear pass up to Freeze. Freeze cuts around her defender. Sends a crosser through and Ukamadu finishes. Cross to Leslie. Leslie dribbling through. Still racing through. Looking. Gaining the edge. Sends in a crosser. Knocked in! McKenna Hammond again! McGee kicks it upfield. Deflects into open space. Lindgren Palm chases it down. Sends a pass through, finds Siegel. Siegel winds, fires, scores! Juliana Siegel with her first career varsity goal. Dribbling with it, a long leading kick. Kimbrough racing after it. Jada Kimbrough charging in, stopping, shooting, scoring! Jada Kimbrough! Put another first career varsity goal on the board. This one from Jada Kimbrough. So we got 2 first career varsity goals here today. And Brookline now leads by 8. Kimbrough working her way up again. Well defended and still gets around the defender and now launches one. Oh my gosh, did she just score again? Yeah, she did. Brookline controls it. Shu kicks it upfield. Popped up in the air by Lindgren Palm. Headed forward. Racing up for it is Hammond. McKenna Hammond now off to the races. McKenna Hammond break it away. And there's the hat trick! McKenna Hammond. Sorry about that. I'm having a bit of a battle with the windowsill here. McKenna Hammond knocks this one away. Hammond off to the races. McKenna Hammond charging in. Shot! Score! McKenna Hammond has done it again! Recovered. This is Freeze in the corner. Trying to cut around, try to send a pass through, gets to Leslie. Leslie fires a shot, and it's in! Brookline ball. Amit throws it in. Tapped back, goes to Leslie. Leslie dribbling, gets around one. Leslie trying to break through. Leslie fires! Leslie scores again! As they send this one forward, Kimbrough sends it. Deflects off a defender. Cannon now charging in. Cannon tripped up from behind, and they call the penalty in the box. This is going to be a PK chance for Brookline. And it is going to be Anna Leslie. Are we going to see our second straight hat trick for Brookline? Hammond had 3 on Sunday. Will Leslie have her 3rd here? Throw the hats. She's got 3. Big play here. Leslie's shot is saved. No, it's dropped. It's in. Leslie scores the equalizer. Just 3 minutes left in overtime. Throw into McKenna Hammond. Booted up in the air by Ament. Taken by Ukamadu. Ukamadu holding it, kicking a leader for Sydney Freeze. Sydney Freeze rushing in. Sydney Freeze! And that's it! Sydney Freeze wins it for Brookline! Bring on the Final 4! Sydney Freeze, who came into this game with a team leading 4 assists in the postseason, who was a defensive specialist the last 2 seasons, registers her first career playoff goal as a quarterfinal game winner. Ament kicks one forward to Freeze. Freeze, battling from the near side, sends in a crosser. Deflected down. Ukamanu scores! Amru Ukamanu gets Brookline back in the game. It is a 1-goal game now. Signals. Kick flies in. Deflects down. Shot! Eisenhower! And it's knocked out again by Needham. They're going to try again. This time throwing back to Chernychev. Chernychev winds, kicks a long one. Oh, it's in! For the 3rd straight year, Vilena Chernychev has the first goal of the season. Kesselman now running up with it. Pass out to Freeze. Freeze cutting around. Freeze racing up the sideline now. Freeze passes forward. Leshley. Pass to Hammond. McKenna Hammond scores! Chernychev lining up. Goes for a short kick to Leshley. Tapped back out for Chernychev. Chernychev launches one high. Header! Score! Lila Cannon! It's just really hard to score from that distance. Vianello kicks a leader. Sydney Freeze racing in. Freeze gets around the last one. Charging in. Shot! Scores! Sydney Freeze, her 3rd straight goal against Newton South. And Brookline takes the multi-goal lead. Knocked away briefly, but Hammond recovers it, sends it back to Leshley. Brookline slowly moving their offensive pieces up the chessboard as Leshley passes up to Freeze, tap back, Leshley. Leshley dribbling in, leading pass, wide open, shot, scores! I do believe that was Paige Hammond. Presumably boot this one into the box. Line drive flies in, bounces past everybody. Nora Shue trying to wrestle through. Shue kicks it, knocked in! Vilena Chernychev! Or no, they say it went off a Natick player. Lindgren Palm throws it in, bounces past a couple players, taken now by Kimbrough. Kimbrough sending one forward for Vianello. Vianello charging in. Vianello scores! Julia Vianello ties it up for Brookline with the first goal of her varsity career. Throw in for Leshley. Leshley dribbling, sends it across to Freeze. Freeze cuts around looking, extra pass. Leshley breaking through. Leshley taps it in. Anna Leshley with the first goal of senior day. Sends this one in, headed down, but it's going to go right back to Freeze. Freeze dribbling into the box, trying to cut around. Crosser, knocked in again! Anna Leshley! By number 12, Amaya Mosley. Now an interception by Velena Chernychev. Pass it up to Sydney Freeze, who touches it to the outside to Elin Lindgren-Palm. Sends one forward. Anna Leshley taking off with it already. Anna Leshley charging in. Could it happen already? Yes! Anna Leshley with the first playoff goal of 2024 and mark career goal number 30 for the senior co-captain. Sends it forward to Chernychev. Chernychev back over to Leshley. Leshley sending one up the edge for Lindgren-Palm. Lindgren-Palm sends it across for Freeze. Freeze shoots, scores! Sydney Freeze. We've got another milestone here in the opening minutes of this contest as Sydney Freeze puts home career goal number 20. She ended up receiving a leading pass from Leshley that set her up to pass it across to Freeze. And now another wide open chance. Julia Vianello. Crosser. Hammond. Scores! Right out of the timeout. We've got another goal and yet another milestone. McKenna Hammond joins her fellow co-captain Sydney Freeze with her 20th career goal. Leshley now dribbling, pass over, Freeze dribbling in, Freeze trying to do it again, pass across Leshley, knocks it over to Vianello, and Vianello puts it in! Julia Vianello, who assisted on Brookline's third goal, now puts in their fourth. McKenna Hammond takes it, knocked away from her, but back to Chernychev. Chernychev lifts one across to an open Vianello waiting for the ball. Vianello charging in, trying to gain the edge. Tries another crosser. Leshley right there, but it's blocked. Oh, but can they keep it out? It is tapped in by either Freeze or Leshley. Somebody scored that. Kesselman kicks it towards the box. Downed by Leshley. No offsides. Leslie a shot, and Leshley scores again. Flies in, header, and Anna Leshley off the assist from McKenna Hammond. Now definitely has at least a hat trick. Goal kick. Flies up to Vega, but it's taken away by Freeze. Freeze dribbling, trying to gain the edge. Stops, turns around, pass for Leshley. Leshley trying to cut around, pass. Deflected up in the air and kicked in. Anna Leshley again. Either 4 goals and 2 assists or 5 goals and 1 assist, and I wish I could confirm one or the other, but that confirmation is going to have to wait until later. McKenna Hammond now breaking away with it. Tries a pass, Sydney Freeze blocked. Freeze puts it back in. Sydney Freeze. Mosley kicks it away. Knocked back the other way by Mirabelle Kesselman, and Lindgren-Palm gets a pass through. Jada Kimbrough racing with it. Kimbrough trying to force her way through. She was pushed from behind, but she still recovers the ball, and Kimbrough scores! Jada Kimbrough off the assist from Amalia Lindgren-Palm. We're almost 13 minutes into the first half here. No score as of yet between Brookline and Braintree. This one deflects up, and Freeze kicks it across to a wide open Elin Lindgren-Palm. Charging in, shot, score! Elin Lindgren-Palm with her first career goal at the varsity level, and she picks the perfect time for it.
From around this spot, Mirabelle Kesselman did hit a ball just above the bar.
This one lifted towards the box, header chance, deflects, chance kicked in! And that, I do believe, is the end of double overtime. We are going to see PK shootouts here at Parsons Field. Liv Whalen in net, Sydney Freeze taking the shot. Here we go to start the shootout. And it's in! Anna Leshley against Liv Whalen. Brookline up 1-0 here in the shootout. Buries it! And now for Brookline, their number 16, Haley Ament. Her first game back in weeks after returning from injury. Can she come through with a clutch play here? And it's in! Whalen got her hands on it, but it wasn't enough. And it stopped. Liv Whalen with a huge stop. Hammond tried to go for a slow roller of her own, but Whalen reads it well. Oh, wait, they're debating over this?
It looks like she came off her line before Hammond kicked the ball, so it's going to be a redo.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, McKenna Hammond gets a chance at redemption and takes advantage. Velena Chernichev, the senior co-captain who scored the tying goal in the second half. Can she send Brookline to the round of 8? She did it! Velena Chernichev! Brookline wins the shootout! Getting ready to get us started at midfield. Here we go. Brookline versus King Philip in the Elite 8. Kick flies down, headed away by Mirabel Kesselman. A deflection towards the middle is chased down by Velena Chernichev. Touched out to the outside to Elin Lindgren-Palm, who sends it forward to McKenna Hammond. Trying to send one forward for Sydney Freeze. Freeze breaking through. Sydney Freeze stumbles a bit, but is charging in. Freeze shoots. Scores! Don't blink, Brookline fans! The Warriors have the lead in the first 30 seconds of the game! Sydney Freeze from McKenna Hammond! Poche sends it forward, knocked up in the air by Chernichev. Headed forward by Leshley. McKenna Hammond trying to corral it, knocked away by Mason. Recovered by Chernichev, given to Leshley. Leshley sending one forward, looking for Freeze. Freeze taking off with speed. Freeze has the ball. Freeze got around the defense. Freeze charging in, shot! Score! Sydney Freeze with her second goal of the day! It's in Wellesley's best interest to clear a clock to waste time here as they try and punch their ticket to the state finals. And they're just a couple minutes away. Off the deflections. There's a high kick called against Wellesley. Brookline trying to set up fast for the free kick. Leshley boots it. Upfield. Header, Freeze! In! I don't believe it! Brookline's tied the game! Sydney Freeze from Anna Leshley. I don't know if we'll have time to show the replay, but that was insane! Booted upfield by Leshley. Sydney Freeze waiting for it to go past her, then just taps it. The goalie over pursued it, and it goes in, and the season is not done yet!
Seconds from death. A miracle here in Weymouth for the Brookline Warriors, and the legend of Sydney Freeze versus Wellesley continues.
They call her Sid the Savior, and she has donned the cape yet again. And wow, right after the goal, they blow the whistle. That's the end of regulation. Folks, can you believe we are going to overtime?
Would you believe it, Jesse? Sydney Freeze coming up in the biggest moment of her career.
On that note, I just want to give some final fond farewells to the senior class of 2025. I've mentioned it a couple times this year, but I've been covering high school sports in one capacity or another for about 9 years now. And this is the first senior class that I've covered all the way from freshman year to senior year. And so this class means a lot to me, and I'm just extremely grateful that I had the opportunity to witness their journey, from some of them starting varsity as freshmen to all the way here battling it out in the Final Four in the last moments of their careers. And so while I gave, some heartfelt messages to the seniors on Senior Day, I want to give some of those same heartfelt messages here to Ashley Cherwin, 2-year member of the varsity team. Missed all of last year due to injury, but she took on a team manager role, stayed committed to the team regardless of how much or how little she was able to see the field. Great reflection on her character, and wish her the best. Greta Radke, in and out of the lineup on the wings, another 2-year varsity player. She made the most of her playing time when she could. Finished her career with 2 assists. Wish her the best as well. Nora Shu, 3-year player on varsity, another rotational wing player. Finished her career with 3 assists, including 2 this season. Wish her the best as well. Julia Cherwin, the senior goalie who came within inches of a huge save there, a 2-year senior, 2-year varsity player who made the switch from striker to goalie between her sophomore and junior seasons, didn't pick up the goalie position until summer before her junior season, and faced such a monumental task taking over on a team that was so used to such high-level goalie play. And she has put on such an incredibly valiant effort, and she's grown to make some great stops in her own right here and there throughout her career. Wish her the best, and thanks for allowing us to witness a great journey. Babette Hall, another 2-year varsity senior, Brookline's center back, again, like Cherwin, taking over for in a spot on the roster that Brookline's used to having some pretty talented players in, and she took it over, even as, someone who wasn't on the varsity roster until her junior year. She grew and found a way to make her impact, and this playoff run has included some of the best defensive plays we've seen from her in her whole career. We mentioned some of them earlier in the broadcast. That King Philip game, I would put that down as the best game she's played in her whole career. Hats off to Babette Hall. And then finally, the 4 co-captains. McKenna Hammond, a 3-year varsity player, came in as a sophomore as a rotational striker coming in off the bench, was able to make some impact as a depth scorer for Brookline. Then as a junior, took on a starting role and grew her game, became so impactful. And then this year, as Brookline switched to a 2-striker formation, the burden on her became even greater, and she still continued to step up again and again, finished her career with 20 goals and 7 assists. Hats off to McKenna Hammond. Next to Velena Chernichev, a 4-year varsity player, And what a thrill it's been watching her, the way she has evolved and adapted her game to the team's needs from season to season. A backup midi as a freshman who got starting minutes when one of the senior middies went down with an injury come playoff time that year. Then her sophomore year, stepped up and became a great off-ball cutter as a midi, led the team in regular season goals with 6. Then the next year became more of a distributor, tied for the team lead in assists with 5. And then this year took sort of that backline midi position and allowed herself to just kind of set up for others to evolve and step up along that midfield spot. She finishes her career with 17 goals and 11 assists. Hats off to Velena Chernychev. To Sydney Freeze, who played her first 2 years of her 4-year varsity career along the defensive line, was one of Brookline's top defenders. Taking on a center back position as a freshman is nothing to sneeze at. And after switching from back to striker as a junior, she proved just as impactful on the offensive end as she was on the defensive end. Came through huge in each of the last 2 years, really helped to take Brookline's offense to the next level. And despite only 2 years on offense, she finishes her career with 25 goals and 15 assists, including the last-second equalizer in regulation today. And then finally to Anna Leshley, another 4-year varsity starter like Freeze. You know, when I first started covering this team, I was covering Anna and Sid's older sisters, Hope Leshley and Kendall Freeze. And now being here at the end of the journey, seeing Anna and Sydney getting ready to graduate, or finishing up their soccer careers at least, getting ready to graduate come the springtime. It really just shows how time flies, and really enough cannot be said about the impact Anna Leshley has had all over the field for Brookline. She's been a stellar defensive back, a stellar midfielder, a stellar striker. She's played all over the field and proved clutch time and time and time again. Enough can't be said. The stats alone could speak for themselves. 33 career goals and 19 career assists for Anna Leshley. I've said it a bunch of times, Dartmouth University is getting one heck of a player next year. And there's a number of colleges that are getting a heck of a player next year. As a number of these players, I think all 4 co-captains are actually going on to the college level next year, if I'm not mistaken. But once again, my deepest thanks, my deepest appreciation to the class of 2025. It was my first journey as a broadcaster covering a group of players from freshman to senior, and what a journey you guys allowed me to witness. Thank you again, and I wish you all the best.